Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. If you want to double your income, that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to tell you and share with you the exact things that I did to more than 4x my income on a yearly basis. But first and foremost, I want to give you guys a disclaimer. If you're here looking for a get-rich-quick scheme and you've clicked on this link, then I'm sorry to say you're in the wrong place. Today is for people who are prepared and seeking actionable techniques that they can implement that will deliver results if they are prepared to earn them. Okay, so if that's you and that's why you're here, then listen in because I have some great information for you guys to share today. Now, when I started on my journey about 7 years ago, I was working as a delivery truck driver with no skill set whatsoever other than possessing a truck license. And I went from earning approximately 50,000 Australian dollars a year, and that's including working a lot of overtime to also earn that money as well. And now I work in the tech sector and sell software and have more than quadrupled that amount. So today I am going to share with you guys exactly what I have done so that you can use these things too, because these are tools and techniques and principles that are actionable and have been shared with me and worked for me, and I know they will work for you as well. So you are probably here because you exactly like I was, right? Desperately wanted to know how I can increase my earning capacity. How do I provide more for my family? How do I stop living week to week? How do I stop the stress and anxiety every time a bill comes in, knowing that I don't have the money to pay it? And that's the real situation that my family and I were facing. It was a very hard time in my life, and no doubt my family felt the angst of that experience as well. So and it was really what birthed the entire beginning of Forever Better and the journey to improve myself and ultimately dig myself out of a position that I'd put myself in and provide for my family first and foremost, right? So as I say, you're probably here because you feel the same way, and no doubt you want to do the same and take care of your family as well. And the main thing that is really one of the challenging pieces in all of this when you're starting out is everything goes up in price, right? So it's this little thing called inflation, right? So for those of you may be familiar with inflation, but if you're not, it basically means the money that you earn today is worth less in the future. Right? And that's real. That's scary. So it doesn't matter how hard you work. If you're not earning more money, you're actually losing money earning the same amount each year. Right? That's real. Right? And any of you can just look at fuel prices, right? Like from less than $1 a litre to the peak of what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, and we're seeing more than $2 a litre here in Australia. And this is exactly a perfect representation of that, right? So your money has less buying power unless you increase your capacity to earn more. All right, that's important. I want to preface the conversation with that. So when you start, right, doubling your income can seem like a monumental task, right? It can seem super overwhelming to even begin to contemplate or fathom such an increase, right? That's literally a 100% increase, right? And to go from, I'm earning 50 and I'm not sure how to earn 60, and you're telling me I can get to 100? Most certainly you can, but it will not happen overnight. You're not going to uh, wake up and listen to the information that I give you in this podcast and share with you in this podcast, and then 1 week from now you're not going to be doubling your money. It takes time and effort, right? As I said at the start, this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is how you increase your earning capacity and increase your value and being sought after in the market, where you can earn and achieve more for your family. Okay, so you first and foremost, the biggest obstacle to all of this, and this is what I'm sort of alluding to with that overwhelm, right? The first feeling when I say that, what was the first thing that you felt or thought when I said you can double your income? Was the first reaction, oh, I don't think I can do that? Was the first reaction, oh, I've got to do the work to get this? Oh, this seems hard. Those are normal reactions, right? And if you think about the reason that you have that reaction or that feeling when I suggest your ability to literally double your income, is because of your mindset. It's the obstacle, the fear. It's something you haven't done before. It's when you haven't achieved it, it seems so foreign and so far, or so far out of reach, right? And the biggest obstacle, the only thing that is really separating you from where you are to where you want to be, and this is exactly the case for me, and this is what I changed, was mindset. 100% my belief in my own ability to double my income. Now, that's not the end of it. This is the foundation. This is the beginning, right? It's not just believe and you can achieve. That's wishy-washy. That's not actionable. That's just pep talks, motivational hype, right? But the first thing you need to align is your ability to believe in your ability to do so, right? And all of us are absolutely capable of achieving this. This is not a, think big and you'll make more money, right? So when you sort of facing that fear and that challenge and the doubt in your mind, right? You need to take it into small manageable steps, right? How do you break it down in a way that you can action these steps in a sequence, in logical order, that are going to step you from where you are to where you want to be, right? Now, it's not as hard as you think, right? It's really about understanding your own ability, your capability to achieve this, and then determining what are the steps to do so, and ultimately taking those steps, right? So, as I say, when I was driving and earning 50k Australian a year, I actually had a very, very cool mentor in my life that came in at the right time when I was just starting to try and better myself and improve upon my position and opportunities in life. And he came and said to me, when I was frustrated and seeking to learn new skills and ultimately quit my job, and he sat me down and he said, if you in a couple of years aren't earning $100,000 a year, it's nobody else's fault but your own. And that was all I needed to hear. Like, it was like a ton of bricks, right? It just smashed me. And I was like, I took ownership, right? That's the key, right? I took ownership, because if I was going to earn $100,000 a year, it was going to be on me. The only person who can make that happen is me, right? And the same goes for all of us. And when he told me that, it sort of set a fire in my belly, ignited something that made me commit to that, right? I didn't want to disappoint him, right? And that's a weird thing, right? But sometimes that's all you need is that little element, something that motivates you, something that pushes you, that little driver that gives you that energy and that fuel and the fire that you need to get there. So I was consciously working on improving myself. I knew that I wanted to do more. I got advice from someone who could see that, I was capable and gave me the right sort of nudge that I needed, and I took the action to deliver that. And ultimately, on a side note, when I went back to him a couple of years later and had the conversation and thanked him for that advice and told him what I was earning now, he was stoked for me. He was very happy because he saw that potential in me and gave me that little push that I needed, and it worked, right? So we're going to go into how you guys can get there. Okay, so the challenge really, right, is you need to shift what you're currently doing in the sense of potentially your career. Now, that might seem scary and daunting and overwhelming, but ask yourself, what is more scary? Is it more scary to challenge yourself, branch out, and push into new, uncharted waters, unknown territory, or to stay where you are, knowing that each year your money is worth less and less and less and less and less? Right now, that scared the hell out of me when I was facing that genuinely facing that, knowing that I couldn't live on the money, our family couldn't survive on the money that we were on at the time, and knowing that my earning potential was very limited, very minimal, and that everything else was going up in costs. It's a scary position to be in, right? Like that, there's nothing more fearful in my eyes than not being able to put food on the table for your family and put a roof over their head, right? That's what it's all about. So it is beyond getting through the obstacle of your own mindset that you can't do this. The biggest hurdle going through that step is really it's going to be challenging, right? It's not impossible, but it is very hard to double your income in your current role, right? It was almost impossible for me to be a truck driver and go from earning 50K to 100K, right? That's not what the role entails. That's not the remuneration for that role, for the problem that I'm solving, for the job that I'm doing. So you have to be prepared to take that leap and jump into something new, right? And it can be something adjacent, right? It's the easiest way is really finding something that aligns close to where you are in your realm, right? So when you broaden your work, right? You step into new challenges. You have to come out of your role, but this is exciting, right? Now, the way that I position myself in this, and I have a very obscure background with my skill set and the jobs that I've done, and you may be very similar, right? Where I started out as a chef, right? I did my apprenticeship. I became a qualified chef, earning very little money. Ultimately, our family, my partner and I, pregnant with our first son, and I knew that I had to do something where I wasn't working as long hours and I was earning more money. So I literally went from cooking food to going and getting a truck license and doing furniture removals. And instantly I was earning more money, right? So I went and learned how to drive trucks. I kept doing that for a few years. And then I knew I needed to expand again. So I basically went into food service logistics, where I understood, because of my background as a chef, it helped me to find that adjacency. I had my truck license and I combined and stacked upon the skills I had. So I was a qualified chef with a truck license, went into food service logistics and started delivering to all the restaurants and cafes and people that I used to work with, right? And believe it or not, I was earning more money driving the truck, delivering the food, than working in a kitchen cooking the food. It was ludicrous, right? So you can understand how little chefs are being paid. Um, and then from there, I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn sales because I knew, and this is to talk to what I'm explaining here is knowing that I needed to transition and build upon my skill set to make my abilities greater, my capacity to earn greater, because I'm more able to solve unique problems and help people in challenging and unique ways. Right now, if you to digress a little here, if you have a truck license, you're replaceable. Right? The harsh reality, I was replaceable. Anyone who walks in that door who can show up and drive the rig can replace you. Right? Not a highly demanding job in the sense of the skill to drive a truck. If you can drive a car, you can learn how to drive a truck. It's relatively easy sort of progression, right? When I understood that I needed to increase my skill set, I was listening to a lot of podcasts. I was reading books all the time, and I was at the gym. Good food, um, putting good information and content into my head, taking care of myself, and starting to understand how to better myself so I was more sought after in the market, right? So the next step was I wanted to learn sales because I knew it was a life skill. If I can learn to negotiate, if I can learn to assist others, if I can learn better communication, how to listen, how to solve problems, how to understand business process, if I can understand and combine those skills with my existing skills, that positions me as a unique with unique skill sets and talent combinations that other people don't have because they haven't been on the journey that I am. And this is the same for you, right? This is why I talk about the adjacency. What is in that realm that you can utilize, that you already have in your repertoire, in your toolkit, that you can combine with something that sits just adjacent to the industry you're in, right? So I went to learn sales in the food service logistics business. It didn't pan out because it would have been a massive pay cut at a time when I wasn't earning money because I was really entry level, right? So they understood that and were taking advantage of, yeah, why would they pay me more money when I don't know anything yet? I'm not bringing anything to the table. Fair enough, right? So I ultimately knew that was the next logical step, and I quit my job with nowhere else to go, no job to go to, but a leap of faith, if you will. I knew that these were the steps I needed to take to earn more money for my family. So when I told the same mentor that told me, that I should be able to earn, more than $100,000 a year, when I told him I'm going to quit, and he said to me, you don't have anywhere to go to. You sure you want to do this? And I said, I know I need to because it puts me in a challenging and compromising position where I have to take action, right? I'm in a position where I'm not able to afford, to support my family properly now, and I know if I stay here, that's not going to improve. So the only way to free up my capability to earn more money was to take myself out of that position so that a new position opens up where I can, right? Now, from there, I ended up, again, adjacency. I found a company that was wanting salespeople that was in transport and selling software. So, again, that adjacency, right? I want to learn sales. I have experience in transport and logistics. And now I learn a new skill. Another combination is sales, software, and my background from logistics, right? So I'm taking all these elements, these pieces that I already have, and building upon them, compounding my skill set upon that foundation. All right. So from there, when I went into this new company, I got the crash course. Like wearing holes in my shoes, knocking on doors, 100 cold calls a day, picking up phones, smiling and dialing, learning, going through the motions, doing the work, right? And this is critical. Everything that I have done along the way to get me to 4x that money that I was earning, I took action. I put myself in challenging positions. I did things that made me feel uncomfortable and not sure how they would pan out, but knowing that my commitment and dedication to seeing myself through this challenging time and succeeding was enough to get me there. And you have to hold on to that belief and faith you have in yourself. I promise every single one of us is more than capable of achieving in this manner. It's just taking that determined action, committed decision, and then following through with the actions that will lead to the outcome that your decision is based upon, right? So I did maybe 2.5 years in that realm, and then I shifted jobs into a far more advanced and impressive and incredible software company, utilizing again the skill set and leveraging and now, believe it or not, like none of these things would have seemed to me to have any alignment or correspondence with one another. Like you would never think that a qualified chef would sell software, or a qualified chef would go on to drive trucks and then also go on to sell software, right? All these things don't seem like they have a connection or a value when you combine them. But now, knowing what I do because of hindsight, I'm positioned incredibly well now, because when I speak to businesses in the food service sector regarding the software and the tools that they use in their business, I can talk to the experience because I know the entire supply chain from the warehouse through to the customer's plate, and I know that process. I've delivered it. I've worked in the warehouse. I've cooked the food. I've done my apprenticeship. Like I can speak to it because of that level of expertise from my experience. Now, if you had to tell me this when I was starting out, I never would have believed you. I wouldn't have realized this was possible, right? But it's key to take all those skills that you have, all those adjacencies, right? It's just left of center to what you're capable of. You don't have to take this amazing leap and say you're a bus driver and suddenly you're going to go on to build rockets, right? It doesn't have to be that extreme. You just have to push a little bit outside the boundaries of your comfort zone, and you'll be amazed at the huge impact and change that gives you because of that unique combined skill set, right? So when I understood, probably one of the clearest realization moments for me was, and this is critical, I really want you to try and take this in. This is a big thing that was shared with me, and it really changed everything for me, right? Is if I can teach myself skills needed to solve challenging problems, people will have no choice but to pay me well for it. Right? That's it. The bigger the problems I can solve, the more money I can make. That's the key, right? Every single one of us has a problem. There's problems all around the world waiting to be solved. And if you can solve the challenging, the hard, the complex, the ones that people don't want to solve, the bigger the problem, the more you will be paid when you solve it. That's the foundation of your entire success in life, I promise you. The more that you put yourself in a mindset of problems are opportunities, you'll never go hungry again. You'll never be short of money. You'll never have any doubt that you can provide for your family because you've learned the skill set, right? If you think any business, any service, any company that you can imagine in business today, they don't sell widgets or products. They sell solutions, right? Let's say, uh, what's a good example? Disney, right? Disney sells magic. Disney sells belief and stories and the hero's journey and wonder of you can be your own hero, right? Like this, the problem of, can I rise to the occasion? And these stories that they provide are the framework, right? Um, uh, what's another one? Like a classic example, right? Uh, Makita drills, right? You don't buy a drill, you buy a hole in the wall, right? What's the problem? I need to hang a frame on my wall. Makita sells a solution to that, right? Are you with me? Every product, every business, every service is providing a solution. Everything's structured around problems and solutions. So the more that you can develop your ability to solve those complex and unique problems, your earning capacity is skyrocketing, right? And another critical thing, a crucial little gem that I want to share with you guys is there is only so much money you can save, right? And knowing what you know about inflation, as I shared earlier, your money saved is worth less and less and less. Saving money is diminishing value. There is no limit to the amount of money you can earn, right? When you grasp that and understand and you have that epiphany, all you have to do is go out and earn it. And I know that I'm oversimplifying that, but that's really, why does it need to be complicated? Right? The more times in my life that I've overthought things or tried to, analyze and process, and then, well, what about, did I factor in this? Is this something I've considered? What did I forget? To an extent. But then, simplify it, know what it is, take action, keep moving. And this is what I did, right? All I did was combine the skill sets. I knew that when I was driving trucks, I wasn't solving great problems, right? I was only worth $50,000 a year. I was solving problems that were worth paying me $50,000 a year to solve, right? And when you work now, like in a business, I can provide a solution for a business through the software and tools and understanding their customers and the way the market is buying, where you can save a business millions of dollars a year in the approach and the strategy if you understand their business and what problems they're facing, and if what you provide is the solution they're looking for. If you're solving a problem that's $1 million problem for a business, do you think that you will be paid more money for that? I can tell you are. Most certainly, because this is a harder problem. It's a more challenging problem, something that not everyone is prepared to try and to solve. Everyone can, but not everyone does. Right? Now, key steps, some actionable stuff that I want to give you guys to take away from here is really, first and foremost, whatever position you are in right now, there is adjacency that you can address, right? There is somewhere close in proximity to you that you can use as your next step, just outside your comfort zone, that's going to push you and propel you on this path to at least doubling your income, right? Now, identify an industry that interests you, right? If you don't like where you're working, you're never going to be at your very best and put the most effort into your role, because you don't enjoy it. So you have to find an interest in an industry that appeals to you, something that you want to put work and develop your skills and learn and master your craft in, right? That's number one. When you've identified that industry, research what roles in that industry are available and what they get paid. So you have a framework, a foundation, a basis. You know what that industry involves, and you know the typical wages that the positions in this industry are paid for the work that they do, right? Then the third step from here, immerse yourself in that industry. Okay, when you do this, when you start to dive in deep, don't go surface level, dive deep, right? The value comes from vertical knowledge, not horizontal knowledge. Like if your knowledge is too broad, you're not an expert on something. Dive deep, understand it in and out, right? As much as you can. When you immerse yourself in an industry that is of interest to you, you start to gain expertise in the daily operations, the way that this industry and this business or businesses in this industry navigate and how they currently operate, right? So when you start to get this domain expertise, you understand, and you're committed to doing the work to understand because of the interest, right? So when you start to look at how the industry operates, identify the problems that the industry is experiencing. Okay, so you start to look, when you start to get a good grasp of the landscape and everything that exists currently in it, in all its forms, good, bad, and ugly, you'll start to see common problems that businesses in this industry are experiencing. Okay, I've identified there's 5 businesses that I can see are all having that same problem. Now, it's valuable for me to solve the problem for this one business, but how lucrative, how valuable can it be if I know that multiple businesses have this same problem? I've just identified a market. There's a problem, there's demand, and I can create supply, right? So you have this understanding and of the existing problems in that industry. Now, crucial to all of this, this is something that I found fascinating when I was shared, well, when this was shared with me, right? You don't need to solve the problems yourself. All you need to do is find the people that can. Right? There is more than one way to come to a solution. Maybe some of you already started to click to that idea when we're going through the episode today. Hopefully that's given you guys some different perspective, right? If you think about, you can solve problems by connecting people who can solve problems, right? Even further or greater, to a bigger capacity. Right now, like to use the Makita drill example, right? You might know nothing about physics and materials and the composition of building a drill with the right kind of tools or electronics. You don't need to know any of that, but you've got an interest in that industry. You've identified a problem, and you see the problem. You might not know how to solve it, but now that you've taught yourself to seek, to be aware of problems and then find solutions, you can go and find the people that can solve that problem, right? And act as the conduit, the middleman, the person that goes to these businesses and provides the service of solving these problems by pulling together the people that have the ability to solve those problems, right? If you're even more immensely valuable if you can see what needs to be done and you can outsource and solve multiple problems. You're no longer what would you call it? I like to call it like a connector. Like you're not just refined or confined, rather, sorry, to solving the problem, just this one problem. If you can see and identify opportunities, right? Problems are opportunities, remember that. And you can find the solution to the people that can fix it or can provide the solution, and you pull all those people together, you can 10x your income, more so, right? Like the greater the problems you solve, the more money you're paid. And if you're able to bring people together, you are immensely valuable. Have you ever heard the saying, your network is your net worth? this is what it really means, right? How big is your network? How many people can you put together? If you know someone, like a great example, I heard of this as it was there was a podcast I listened to, and they were asking for a certain person to do some task. And there was some young kid who was listening to the podcast, and he didn't know how to do the task, but he knew somebody who could do it. So he went to the people running the podcast, told them he's got the solution, and then he went to the person that he knows who can solve the problem and said, "Hey, I've got an opportunity for you." Right? How impressive is that? This is a kid who doesn't have a skill set, but has the ability to take action, see something that needs to be solved, and brings people together that can do it. Right? How valuable is that kid? Right? That kid will probably grow up to be some incredible entrepreneur, right? And all of you listening and watching this, I promise you, you guys can do exactly the same. I came from like a very simple single parent family with nothing. I did not do well in school. I never went to university. I drove trucks and I did an apprenticeship, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And then I realized through, thankfully, people who were willing to provide me some guidance and information and my own actions and desire to want to be better, if I can 4x my income, I'm sure you guys can easily do that, if not more. You know, there's much smarter people out there than me. I guarantee you. Now, as I said at the beginning, guys, this is not a get rich quick scheme, right? This will not double your income overnight, okay? But if you are committed to your own success, right, which is everything, you have to deliver your own success. No one else can do this for us, right? And you wouldn't be here if you weren't, right? So I'm sure if you're listening to this or watching it, you are most certainly committed to your own success. If you take action, you will most certainly be able to increase your earning capacity to multiples of what you're currently experiencing, right? Most certainly, right? Now, these are the very techniques that I used. I used all of the things I'm sharing with you. Like I went from not knowing if I could put food on the table and sinking further and further into debt every week to now being less stressed, happier. I'm a better partner, a better father. There's less worry. You know, we have resources. You know, I'm not week to week. Things are okay. And I'm working to increase that more and build upon it more, right? So, you know, I think something that I think is a really nice side benefit for all of this is beyond your ability to earn more money, right? The beautiful thing is really the person that you become along the way, right? And that's the secret to all of it, is to earn whatever amount of money you want to earn, or to be whatever position you want to be, or to start whatever business you want to start. You have to develop into that person. And that's the wonderful thing, is the journey to get there. When you're there and you look back, you can see how far you've come and who you've become, right? And I say this all the time. This is what it's all about. Who could you become? Right? Why stop and limit yourself? What potential do you truly have? How far can you take it? All right. I hope that you guys take these little simple and actionable steps that I've given you today and do the very best you can, utilize them and make that money for yourselves, and give yourself and your family the opportunities and the freedom that you guys deserve. Right? Tell me about it. I want to know. I want to hear from people who've, 6 months down the track, a year down the track, 2 years, 5 years. I want to know. Send me a message. I want to see. Tell me that you've taken action and done these things, and the impact it's had on your life, and how much your earning capacity has changed. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. This is Wade Vincent once again for Forever Better Academy. I thank you guys for being here, and please take these things if they are of value and benefit to you. Don't keep them to yourself. Share them with others. Okay, you know, a rising tide lifts all ships. There's enough abundance for all of us. If you're earning more money, it doesn't mean someone else has to earn less. Share this with your friends and loved ones and people that you know need to hear this. So I'm going to sign off, and I will catch you again next Friday. Until then, work hard and earn the money you deserve. All right, guys. See you later.